understanding the responsibilities of a leader are very important. I have numerous reminders which used to be on my back desk at Harsco. They now in my office at home.
What are they?
Well, they're symbols of, to remind me every day when I used to walk into my office at Harsco as to what my job was about. I had a conductor's baton that was presented to me by a maestro. The fact is, you're not playing every instrument. You can't be the head cook and the bottle washer. Mm-hmm. But what you are is the conductor of a team. And it reminds me of team, of contribution. This guy plays the oboe, that guy plays the fiddle, this guy plays the piano, that lady plays the harp,
sure.
etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And the job of the leader is to be the conductor, to make sure that in time that the policies and strategies are being interpreted appropriately, etc. I have a lump of coal on my desk, and you say, well, a lump of coal? And I say, yeah, because that reminded me that we all start out as lumps of coal, don't we? Hopefully one day, with all of the pressures of the trials and tribulations of life, we'll end up as diamonds. Mm-hmm. And everybody has that potential. And it was my joy and one of the great driving factors in my life to see people, including myself, really pushing themselves and realizing their full potential. Come off the coalface, become a diamond. Mm-hmm. And to be participating in the growth of development of myself and of other people. That's a leadership responsibility. I've got a magnifying glass on my desk. A leader's job is not only to see the big picture, but also to analyze and to look closely at the detail through the microscope. Yeah, a telescope's a good idea, but don't abdicate your responsibility for the detail, because the devil is in the details. Mm-hmm. And certainly to delegate your responsibilities is not a bad idea, because it is a team effort. But do not abdicate them, because that will end up with, instead of you giving them enough rope to hang themselves, you'll give them enough rope and they'll hang you.
Any other items?
Oh, a whole plethora of these symbols that reminded me, but probably we don't have enough time today to go through those.
Well, in our introduction, and going through your biography, one can understand why many people would regard you as a self-made man, but yet you don't regard yourself as a self-made man. Why is that?
Well, because we need so many people to help us. I mean, unfortunately, one gets honoured for this and honoured for that, but I think a sense of gratitude that one has to the assistance and the help that other people have given along the way, the mentors, the kindnesses, even the bad experiences. I'm always grateful for people that treat me badly, because I learn something from that even. I always look on the bright side of things. It's just a very important aspect in life that one ought to be grateful. And I don't believe in the self-made man. My mother, my father, my brothers, my sisters, the accountants, the lawyers, my colleagues at the office help me accomplish being what I am, and it's my job to serve them, to help them to make themselves. Self-destruct, however, is a very important principle, because we need a lot of help to succeed, as we've discovered with many celebrities and many people that have reached high office and high place. We don't need a lot of help to fail.
No.
That's down to us, so that's a challenge too.
Well, you've just mentioned that you help others that are helping you. This makes me think of the role that the topic of servant leadership played in your corporate leadership at Harsco. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about servant leadership? Because I think this is something that isn't as well known as it might be in the general public.
Well, it's my view that if you need the title on the door to keep your job, then it's bad news for you. Power is not the thing that's required here. It's humility to understand that you don't know everything about everything, that you do need help. And I always believed in serving people. How may I help you? What can I do to help you? I've accomplished this position. I have acquired a lot of hard-earned experience, sometimes costly. either financially or with sweat, but it stood me in good stead. How may I now give back to you and impart to you that experience that I've got over the last 44 years? That's the question. 44 years of marriage and 44 years in business. You know, you have to live your life to get to that position. But I've always, since I was a boy, felt the obligation to give back, and I found that to be very, very rewarding. And it's a sincere motivation. It isn't something that, a formula that you say, well, I will do this because it's successful. I believe I do it because it's who I am. And I can't, there's no other way that I know.
Were you able to share the concept of servant leadership with many other corporate leaders?
I think it's corporate leaders need to do that on their own. Lots of books have been written. Consultants are brought in to motivate people with all kinds of buzzwords and this kind of thing. I never relied upon that. I just relied upon teaching people that what we're going to do is the right thing. This is our value system, which didn't need any reinforcement from outside, because that seemed to me to be an abdication. You are the leader, like it or not. It's your job to establish the tempo, the tenor, the standards, and to maintain them, not bringing in some other name or some outside force. Because if you do that, then you lose your leadership position because you're relying upon the consultant or whatever to do it.
In the last minute that we have, Derek, and we never have enough time with our honored guests, in the last minute, could you share with our viewers what they might do? What can the average person do to try to generate leadership in our country that will be willing to tell us to live within our means, and will have the government live within their means?
Well, it requires, again, a sense of reality. What is the position? Self-delusion is the worst kind of delusion. Deluding others is bad news. Deluding oneself can be catastrophic. And don't practice self-delusion. Understand the reality, and then look for fixes to do that. And believe me, people call me a visionary. I argue against that. Self-made, no. Visionary, no. Analyze your position to the best of your capability, and if you feel inadequate, find somebody that can do that and help you. And once you understand the reality, that's a great incentive to get things put right. And I look to seeing that with our leaders of our communities, of our government, both locally and certainly federally at the moment. We need to take a good, sharp dose of reality medicine, which will galvanize our thinking and take us forward for the future.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing with our audience today your thoughts on the important issue of leadership, and we look forward to having you as a guest at some time in the future. Dr. Hathaway, thank you for being with us again.
It's my privilege and pleasure, Charlie. Thank you.
We'll see you next week on another edition of Behind the Headlines.